It started innocently enough. My front lawn was always well kept, like every other lawn in the neighborhood. Foxwood Preserve was one of those pristine suburban developments where the grass is always green, and the neighbors keep an eye on everything. But then came Karen. Karen was the HOA president, a retired woman who seemed to think she had authority over everything in the neighborhood. She had that look visor, clipboard, and a smug expression like she owned the place. At first, it was small things, slightly long grass or a flower out of place. She'd leave passive-aggressive notes, and I'd trim the lawn just to avoid any issues. But then, she started driving through my yard. Every morning I'd leave for work, and she'd be cruising by, her golf cart slowly rolling over my lawn. I thought it was an accident, but after a few more days I realized it wasn't. She was doing it on purpose. At first I didn't say anything. Maybe she was just keeping an eye on the neighborhood, right? But then she started leaving tire marks across my lawn, rolling over the freshly mowed grass like it was her personal racetrack. I thought, this is ridiculous. But it wasn't until the damage got worse that I knew something had to be done. One day, I came home to find deep tire tracks running straight through the center of my lawn, completely flattening the grass. It was as if she was mocking me. The worst part? She wasn't even subtle about it. I thought about confronting her, but Karen wasn't someone you could reason with. She had that smug attitude, and every time I tried to speak with her, she brushed me off.
"It's just grass, it'll grow back,"
she'd say, never taking responsibility. That's when I decided to act. But I didn't want to confront her head-on. I needed something subtle, something that would make her think twice before driving over my lawn again. I did some research online and found spikes designed to be buried just under the surface of the grass, used to keep animals from digging up yards. Perfect. I could lay them just below the grass, so unless you were looking closely, you wouldn't see them. But when Karen drove over them, it would be clear. The next day, Karen cruised down the street in her golf cart, gliding right across my lawn without a second thought. I could barely contain my smile as I watched her tires roll right over the spot I had planted the spikes. The next morning, Karen drove by again. I heard a pop, followed by another pop. Then, I heard her cursing. When I looked out the window, I saw her stopped in the street, the golf cart's tires flat. She tried to move forward, but the cart wouldn't budge. A few minutes later, Karen got out of the cart, furious, inspecting the tires, noticing the sharp imprints from the spikes. She quickly realized she had messed with the wrong neighbor. I could hear her shouting and stomping around, but I stayed inside trying to hide my amusement. The next day, there was no sign of Karen's golf cart. She stopped driving by my lawn altogether. A week later, Karen was oddly quiet. No more tire marks, no more passive-aggressive notes. She even waved at me once as if nothing happened. She never mentioned the incident. And that was it. The best part? The HOA president was humbled in the most satisfying, quiet way possible without a single word spoken. Sometimes, the best revenge is just waiting for the perfect moment to plant a few spikes under the grass.